Deep State and Marxism. How globalists used Marxism to shape the world order and to capture the entire world. We are going to be looking at different timelines, revolutions, and assassinations that shaped history. Who were the Fabians and how did they add fuel to the rising fire? Certainly a fair number of us are aware that the people running our government are not the ones who are really in control of political and economic matters, both domestic and foreign. The Industrial Revolution from 1760 to 1840. 300 years ago there were no factories, no industries, but with the progress of science, big factories started to emerge and they gave birth to a new class, laborers. The working conditions for laborers were not good and factory owners used to exploit them. 1848. Germany. A German thinker, Karl Marx, gave a theory called Communism. It says there are two types of people in the world, oppressors and oppressed. The oppressor exploits the oppressed. One day the oppressed will revolt against the oppressor. Voila, the perfect recipe for a bloody revolution to happen. After that revolution there won't be any oppressor or oppressed. Everyone will be equal and that will be communism. This idea looks very catchy, but it's not realistic. Even after 176 years, no country in the world has been able to implement communism. Communism is a flawed idea. But the deep state has seen the power of this oppressor-oppressed idea in 1789 during the French Revolution. Karl Marx was a relative of the Rothschild family. Karl Marx was a Freemason and a Satanist, so we have enough reason to say that Karl Marx was a state agent, and this theory was deliberately brought forth for the New World Order. Since Marxism talks about global brotherhood, Marxism opposes nationalism. Marxism opposes God and religion. 1859. Charles Darwin published his Origin of Species. Marxism was created by the deep state to destroy nationalist countries and leaders, most especially Germany and Russia. The game begins from 1866. 1865, Reuters is created. 1866. An attack happens on Russian Tsar Alexander II by a Marxist, but he survives. 1874, a Marxist tries to kill German Chancellor Bismarck, who was in favor of peace in Europe. 1878, a Marxist tries to assassinate German Kaiser Wilhelm. Between 1879 and 1880, 3 more assassination attempts happen on Russian Tsar Alexander II by Marxists. March 1881. A communist terrorist finally kills Russian Tsar Alexander II. Russia starts crackdowns on Marxists, and many of them flee to Europe and the USA, spreading their radical ideology in those countries. One of them was Emma Goldman, who arrives in America and will spread communism there. 1884, Fabians. The most important moment in the journey of Marxism comes in 1884. Until now, Marxists were using murder, terror and revolution to achieve their objectives, but in 1884, one group of them leaves guns and takes up the pen, and they become even more deadly. With this, the birth of urban Naxals begins. The Fabian Society is started in London by some Marxists with the support of the Rothschild family. The Fabian Society symbol depicts a wolf in sheep's clothing. Fabians use the technique of stealth to fool people. Fabians will make Marxism more deadly. Fabians will start the British Labour Party in 1900. Fabians will take control of Britain and its colonies. Fabians will establish the London School of Economics in 1895, which will become the main recruitment place for deep state members. Fabians will play a very important role in the future of India. 1886, riots in America. Marxists who came to the US from Russia start riots in Chicago and kill 8 policemen. A monument is established there, a monument to the dead policemen. Remember this name, we will talk about it again in 1968, 1892. Riots in the Carnegie steel plant by Marxists, 1894. Marxists kill the President of France, Marie-François, who was an honest and nationalist leader and was not a puppet of the deep state. Killing of nationalist leaders by Marxists keeps going for the next 10 years. The Prime Minister of Spain in 1898, the Queen of Austro-Hungary in 1898, the King of Italy in 1900. It was like the deep state was trying to steer the world in a certain direction, and anyone who could be an obstacle was removed by radical Marxists. The most important moment comes in 1905, when the deep state, with the help of Marxists, attempts a revolution in Russia. 1905 Russian Revolution. The attempted Russian Revolution of 1905 is a wave of political uprisings, massive labor strikes, and terrorist acts against the government of Russia. From 1905 to 1909, communist terrorists will kill 7,300 people. Though this revolution is suppressed, Tsar Nicholas II makes a big mistake. He shows mercy to communist leaders Lenin and Trotsky and asks them to leave the country. Lenin finds his way to Switzerland and Trotsky ends up in New York. They will one day return with more money from the deep state to bleed Russia once again. 1906, Marxists assassinate the King and Queen of Spain. 1908, Marxists assassinate the King and Prince of Portugal. 1911, Marxists assassinate the Prime Minister of Russia. 1912, Marxists assassinate another Prime Minister of Spain. 1914. The King of Austro-Hungary is assassinated, and with that, World War I starts. Russia is trapped in this war by the deep state, and Russia emerges as the biggest loser in this war. The deep state sends its Marxists into Russia, and a regime change happens in Russia. 1917, the end of the Tsar Kingdom in Russia. Russia becomes the world's first communist-ruled country. Russia was a traditional Orthodox country and the biggest roadblock in the path of the deep state for the New World Order. Finally, that roadblock is removed and Russia comes under the control of Marxists, and from here, the bad days of Russia start. For the next 50 years, Russia will be destroyed. Marxist terrorists will destroy Russian civilization. Millions of innocent Russians will be brutally killed, first by Lenin and then by Stalin. 1918, the Comintern is established in Moscow. Communism goes global. After getting success in Russia, the deep state establishes communist parties in all countries. Germany was destroyed in the First World War. Russia was in their control. It was time to control the whole world. 1919, Hungary becomes the second communist-ruled country after Russia. 1919, 30-year-old Adolf Hitler starts a revolt against communists in Germany. 1920, it will burn wherever it will go. Marxists do a bomb blast on Wall Street in the USA. 1919 to 21, the Council on Foreign Relations and Chatham House are formed by the deep state to control the entire world.